because, first of all, it's interesting to confront the world with a little Latin, which most people don't understand or don't know, and so I like to use the Latin. I use the Latin in a few places in the album, in descriptions and words, but it's because it means the wandering man. And this is an album about our species, the hunter-gatherers of yesterday and today. We go in search of a better life, and we move where we have to move in order to find it. So we're all from somewhere else. It's the story of migration. And migration is what you know about in your country, from people wanting to come and live where you are. And you have to figure out what's the best compromise between inviting new people to come and live in your country, probably from North Africa, from Eastern Europe, and when you have to say, we have no more room here in Italy, and we have to put up the sign that says, no more vacancies in the hotel. I don't have to do that. You won't have to do it. It's your grandchildren who are going to have to be the ones to make that very, very difficult moral decision. As we know, climate change is affecting things and food production and life in other parts of the world more than perhaps in Western Europe. So migration will be an increasing issue in the decades to come. Well, I probably only have a few years ahead of me because I'm 66 years old and I need to be busy, otherwise I could die before I finish my work, and that would be as painful as it must have been for Beethoven, painful as it must have been for Pavarotti to be having to face the end before they were ready. So I want to work hard while I can still do it, and my next album, my next music is not even the beginnings of an idea yet. But I rather think that on the 1st of January of 2015, you could ask me this question again, and I'll be able to tell you. I've just spent 5 hours writing some new music, and wow, this is going to be so exciting. You've got to hear it. So try me again on the 1st of January 2015. Two reasons. One, it's a little bit of fun to make a backstory, to make an imaginary story that some of our fans can create their own vision of the detail based on fictions of these things. It's like peeling back the layers of an onion. You can either hold the whole onion in your hands and look at it, or in this case listen to it, plug in your little wide earbuds, tap your feet, and just close your eyes. But he's also a writer's tool. He is an alter ego, a nom de plume, someone who can say things that I wouldn't say. He can have beliefs and thoughts and expressions that are not mine. So, if those expressions and thoughts and feelings are voiced in the local bar, he's the one who gets the punch on the nose, not me. Probably the first thing that ever impressed me was when I first heard Muddy Waters. And I saw a documentary about Muddy Waters walking along a station platform with his little suitcase, little piece of luggage in his hand, and singing a blues song. And this was, for me, aged 13 or 14, this was magic. This was about a black man. He was from a different world. He had a dark skin. He sang songs that were kind of really weird and emotional and consisted of the pentatonic scale, which was kind of familiar to me from hearing big band jazz when I was about 8 or 9 years old, and my father used to play some of those records. So it was music that seemed a little bit familiar, but very exotic, very dark, very strange, and that set me on the road to learning to play a little music and become a musician in my teenage years, playing mostly acoustic folk blues and trying to understand and learn a little bit of simple jazz. So that was my big motivation to go into music. But I think perhaps the most important thing was in 1967 when I heard Sgt. Pepper and Pink Floyd's Piper at the Gates of Dawn, because for me those two albums were really revolutionary. They spoke of new ideas that were not American rock and roll or American blues. They spoke of new ideas that were much more eclectic. And that was the beginning of progressive rock and pop music. So those two extremely creative records of 1967 were, for me, a very important part of pointing me in the direction that 2 years later I would also go in. Meeting President or ex-President Mikhail Gorbachev in a very important moment. Meeting our future King, the Prince of Wales, talking to prime ministers, talking about all sorts of things that are kind of sometimes educational, not motivational, but because they fill in some of the gaps in human nature and human endeavour. So, some important guys like Gorbachev were, kind of a good lesson for me in how much a man can achieve, even if he didn't really understand what he was doing. Now that Mr. Putin is in charge, I think we need Mr. Gorbachev back again, don't you? Anyway, very nice to talk to you. I have to move on to my next interview.